Welcome, folks, to this Tuesday, July 9th, 2024 meeting of the Harpswell Board of Appeals. I'm Ned Simmons, Chair of the Board. To my left is Steve Musica. To my right, Steve Bruall, Pat Lawson, Dave Zemnorowski, who is an associate member. I'm appointing him to be a full voting member this evening. Jim Knight, our other regular member, is not with us this evening. We do have a quorum. I'll run through our agenda. We have a administrative appeal by Coastal Maine Ventures LLC. We have election of officers, and we have the consideration of our minutes from the April 24th and May 2022 meetings. I'll go run through the procedure quickly. Anybody who wishes to speak this evening should step to the microphone, identify themselves. Anyone who does wish to proceed and participate in the meeting should sign in at the sheet over by the door there to make it easier for the recording secretary to identify folks who participate. Any questions and comments should be made through the chair. In general, we'll allow the applicant to make their presentation. Any other interested parties who want to comment will have an opportunity to do so, including the CEO, any abutters, and so on. Anyone who thinks they may wish to appeal any decision taken this evening should step to the microphone and identify themselves and state the basis or the reasons for their concerns. I expect this is going to be a short meeting. Normally at this time I'd run through the package of materials we have, but I think that my understanding is that the applicants are going to be asking for a continuance. So I'll dispense with running through that extensive package. I will note that we do have an application and a letter from the applicant outlining their the basis for their appeal. The applicant or your representative like to step to the mic and tell us what you're looking for this evening?
Hi, I'm Kristen Collins. I'm the attorney for Coastal Maine Ventures, the appellant. And yes, Chair Simmons and I spoke earlier today, and I let him know that we would be requesting a continuance tonight to the board's next scheduled meeting. And the purpose of that is we have been having communications with the town's attorney in the hopes of trying to resolve the notice of violation and move forward with any permitting or approvals that might be necessary for other work to the project, but more importantly, just to resolve the violation for the work that's already been done. The town's attorney was away for a couple of weeks and just got back, so we've had a limited opportunity to actually talk until today. So that is the request. Hopefully we can get this resolved, which is always the goal of a notice of violation rather than to appeal. And so we're asking for the chance to do that, and I think the town agrees to that, but I'll let them speak for themselves.
There was, and I don't know whether I should address this to you, or there has been some requests from the board. The board would at least like to get a sense of what this is really about. I mean, I think we all have a sense, but there's been I think some confusion based on the volume of paper we've got about what you're really looking for. And I think we've all probably formed an opinion on what that is, but I think it might be helpful for all of us to understand, I guess, what it is you're asking for.
Sure. Oh, now that it's on, I can tell it's on. So Mr. Clough, on behalf of the LLC who owns the property, has been doing some minor work, which you saw, which is the replacement of select members to try to shore up the safety and security of that dock while he tries to figure out what else can or might be done. This is a non-conforming structure, so he's got rights as the property owner to that non-conforming structure that he would rather not see go float down into the bay in the next storm. So what's been done has been with the eye of doing the bare minimum to replace the worst members, and at the same time we are working in earnest to try to figure out what, if anything, can be done with the property in terms of replacement, maintenance, use of the dock, and that little fish shack that you saw on the property as well. So he's a new owner of the property, and it's not an easy property. As you can tell, it's a very unique little property. And so there's a lot of thinking and work to be done. There are also some issues with the abutter in terms of the property line that we're trying to resolve that may not be quickly resolved, frankly. And so in light of that, the goal is to just preserve what's there, not make a new use of it, not do any, significant work until there have been all the appropriate permits. And that means local permitting, getting the floodplain approval and all of that.
And well, to summarize my understanding, what's before us in this application is simply just a question of whether the work that's been undertaken or they hope to undertake in the short term is whether what requires permits and what does not.
Yeah, I'm really glad you put it that way, because it's really easy to look at this and look at the property and think, oh no, what could be done with this property, and can it even be brought into a compliant, usable state? But that's not what's in front of the board, really. The question, when we do hear this, and I don't want to get too deep into it if we are continuing, but the question would really be, as to the work that was done, is that properly classifiable as maintenance that doesn't require certain permits, or as replacement, which does? And if so, what are those permits? And whether there's a violation because those permits weren't obtained.
That comport with what you folks understood? Mm-hmm. No.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So you're requesting our continuance then?
Requesting a continuance to give us a little time to try to resolve things with the town.
Yep, thanks.
I'm also, by the way, new to the representation of the owners and just trying to figure things out too. The other thing is, we did just also receive at the 11th hour there that letter from Attorney Terrio, which I've not gotten a chance to review, and I don't know if the board has either.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
Codes of the town. Amy, do you want to speak to this?
Good evening, Amy Chow. I'm representing Code Enforcement Office tonight. I just turned my mic off?
Probably.
I did. Sorry about that. Kristen and I did have some conversations yesterday and today about the status of things. And I think at this point, the Code Office does agree to a brief postponement. I did want to note that there are two issues currently before the board right now without getting too much into the substance. One is whether a flood hazard development permit is needed for the work that has already been done on the property. It's the Code Enforcement Office's opinion that that is required immediately. I believe Kristen has represented that the property owner is prepared to file an application immediately for that prior to the board's next meeting. So that issue, I think, it can be addressed. But the issue that's outstanding is the question, as was put, of whether the work that's been done falls within maintenance and repair that does not require any permit, or whether it instead does require permitting. The Code Office continues to believe that it does, and certainly would require if more work were done. That's why the notice of violation the Code Enforcement Office felt was very important to be issued, to avoid any sort of piecemeal, quote, repair of a structure that would eventually end up being a replacement structure. And without, again, getting into too much substance, there's a long history of permitting decisions that were made and denials that were made that may impact what this board may end up doing with respect to future requests with respect to the dock and the structure. We're not there yet, and so I think that's why there is agreement between the parties that it doesn't make sense to speculate about what the property owner might come back with, and how the Code Enforcement Office will respond to that, and whether that might end up before you again, which it may. But we're not there tonight, and so we felt that if we could resolve things at this point, maybe we'll avoid a hearing on the 24th with that resolution. If not, we'll be back before you and prepared to proceed.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Questions?
So you're in agreement with respect to continuance through the 24th?
Yes.
Thanks. There are members of the public here. I guess
Yeah.
it is a notice meeting, so we should give them an opportunity. If anybody has comments from the public, this is your opportunity. Steve?
I just wanted to ask, are the comments going to just be about the continuance? Or I mean, the
I'll give
continuance,
people a
or
little
can
bit,
it be
I don't,
about
yeah,
everything under the sun?
not
and
everything under the
pertaining?
sun, but I think the comment should speak directly to what's in front of us this evening, which is the issue of permits for the repair or reconstruction of the dock.
All set?
Yep.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Roger Terrio. I'm an attorney from Bath. I'm representing the abutter, Gail Hunter. I understand the reason for the request for the continuance. I think under the circumstances, it probably makes some sense to do that. I would just point out that we did file a memorandum outlining our view of the situation. We agree that the current issue before the board is whether or not there is a violation that the town needs to enforce. And then there are a myriad of other issues that are going to have to be addressed before this project can go forward. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, but I think that's all I need to say tonight.
Thank you. Anybody else? Pat? Any discussion?
Well, I just have a question about the 50%.
Yeah.
And should I hold off, or should I state my question?
Probably we should hold off.
Okay.
Unless it's just a question about the interpretation of the ordinance, but probably we should not discuss, probably no point in discussing how it applies to this project.
No, not how it applies, in general.
In general.
A general question, when you say 50%, it's 50% of what exactly?
I think it depends on which section you're reading. It changes depending on whether you're reading the floodplain ordinance, whether you're reading the exemption for repair and maintenance, or whether you're reading the sections about more or less,
Okay.
50% or less reconstruction. It
Because-
seems to me that all the definitions are different, or
Okay.
could easily be applied differently,
One of the things at the site visit,
you know?
I went down, I looked at the dock, I looked up, I looked down, et cetera, et cetera. Who determines
Right. I think that's one
the
of the big
condition
questions,
of?
in my mind, anyway. That's-
Okay,
yeah.
so I'll hold off.
Yeah, okay. I'll move then that we continue this matter until, well, I guess I'll word it, we'll continue this until the applicants either withdraw or request to return to the Board of Appeals.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Would the next meeting be our scheduled
Our
meeting?
regularly scheduled meeting, as far as I
Yep.
know, yeah. Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Thanks, folks.
Sorry to drag you out for 10 minutes, but thank you.
We live to serve.
Serve with the lid.
If you are a butter, you all will get notified if and when the next meeting is.
Unless anybody has a reason not to, I think we can continue with the agenda. Election of officers. We have a nomination for chair.
I nominate, we don't have to second, we don't.
Well, I'll
second that.
ask for volunteers if anybody wants to.
I sec, so this is on record, so this is
Yeah.
part of the meeting, so we gotta,
We're on, folks, we're still involved in the meeting here.
They're trying to send me out to the hallway, sorry.
Sorry.
No, it's not, all right.
They have some minutes to approve.
Well, okay, you're forgiven. Yeah, all right.
Nice meeting you, Amy.
Does anybody want to try out being chair?
No. Pursuant to your,
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, there's a motion on the floor that's been seconded.
Which is that? I didn't hear.
I move that we elect Ned Simmons chair.
Okay.
And I
And you
second it. So we have to beg your pardon.
Now we have to vote.
All in favor? Motion carries. Steve, do you want to be chair? Steve?
No, I'm voting for you.
Motion carries 4-0.
Yeah.
Now,
This is Jim Babarski, he is the new,
Hello,
hi, Jim.
what's your title?
communication specialist.
Communications
right.
specialist for the
Okay.
town of Harpswell. He has something to say to you.
I was just gonna say, I know it's awkward because there's not, you guys are just speaking to each other, but just try to speak to the microphone, so
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't, I apologize.
Okay.
appreciate it.
Remember,
Yep.
remember our age, though, and try to remember that.
So you'll have to repeat that several times.
So now, since Jim's not going to be around, we need to pick a secretary. Anybody want to be secretary? It's a pretty low-stress job.
I know, but I already have a full-time job. So thank you, but
It's, it consists of once a year writing the report for the town meeting. That's all you do. And that's a cut and paste job, so. Steve, would you like to do it?
Huh?
no,
What?
no, absolutely not. I have a job.
All right, I'll be secretary.
All right, I nominate.
If I'm elected.
I nominate Steve Musica
Second.
as secretary. All in favor? Motion carries 4-0. Consideration of minutes, April 24th and May 22nd. I noticed, Margaret, you did send them to us, and I did have them from the month before, and I forgot all about it.
That's fine, and I have one paper copy if
No, I read them, they were excellent.
No,
Yes,
good.
I did too.
I-
Thank you.
I move that we accept the minutes as drafted for April 24th and May 22nd. Discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Is there any
Nice
other-
job on the minutes.
Any other business? It was an excellent job.
I just have one comment. I'm
Yeah.
back on this memorandum.
Yeah.
Yes, we see. Like, I was confused when the gentleman spoke. He referenced himself as a town attorney
Oh, he did?
on the memorandum.
Yeah,
That's confusing.
noticed.
So I thought, did we change town attorneys?
Oh. Yeah, that's
And
an,
then
He's a
he
town
introduced
attorney.
himself as the Bath town attorney,
oh,
and he sent this memorandum as a town attorney. So I think that needs to be noted. This is not a Harpswell town attorney.
well, maybe they represent various towns outside of Harp, and they're
is.
town attorneys, but it's very misleading. when he said-
okay.
I thought the same thing, Steve.
Anything else? Any other business?
I will just say, I'll let you guys know as soon as possible when and if the next meeting will be, so you guys can plan ahead.
Okay.
Hopefully not a Tuesday
The
night again.
deadline is actually quite soon, isn't it? Isn't the
For August,
Yeah, isn't it the 12th or something?
it's usually the first Wednesday of the month is the deadline, and the meeting is the fourth Wednesday in the month.
Right. Is that, do you consider it a deadline for a continuation, or is that just for submitting a new application?
I think it would be for a new application, because we know this is coming.
Right, right, yeah, okay.
But we'll have to know at least, 8 days in advance or something, so I can get a notice published in the paper and notify all the abutters.
Right, so we'll have a week or week and a half
Yeah,
at
at
least.
least.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Anything else? We're adjourned.